What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. The future of gaming. Will we still be swapping cartridges in 4 years? Will we be playing on yet another 3DS? And most of all, will we ever be able to find anything in the Switch eShop? With the new president of Nintendo in place, it seems everything points to the future. This week we take a closer look at all of these questions and more. So set the playback to 88 miles per hour. Tune in your flux capacitor to 1.21 gigawatts and go with us back to the future. Alright, tonight we're going to start off with something we can all relate to. That is the plague of swapping out game cartridges.
It's a pain in the ass.
It sure is.
I think we agree. I think we all kind of agree. The only reason I went physical was for that sweet 20% off at Best Buy. Otherwise, I would be all digital this generation.
Yeah, luckily the two games that I play the most are Rocket League and Fortnite, which currently are both downloads for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's a major factor. Not having to take a cartridge out or just having it all right there. It's nice.
Yeah. Is the physical for Rocket League out already?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's been out a couple months.
And
so it includes a little bit of the DLC on the disc too. So I mean, if you pick it up on sale or something and you got your discount, it's sort of worth it, but not really if you are going to put any kind of time into it and have to swap the cartridge out all the time.
Yeah, no, I like the fact that it was timed exclusive digital for 6 months. So that was my excuse to just go, and plus the cartridges are more expensive for that kind of stuff anyway.
Usually,
so that was my excuse to do it.
But I think it's like $20. But yeah, either way, a lot of the stuff on Switch, it seems like if it ever does come to physical, some of the stuff's even it seems like is coming out like a year after it's been already available for digital, which I don't know how many people like. You can get SteamWorld Dig now.
Well, what's the name of that company that's doing all those?
Limited Run.
Limited Run games.
They're doing some of them. There are other companies, I think. I saw Limited Run's got a box set of Night Trap coming out. But the thing is, it's already more expensive because they're doing physical versions, but then they got to make it even more expensive by doing a limited edition that comes with like vinyl there.
Well, because they got to make it worth their while to do it. So yeah, I mean, I get it, and this is why I think physical will never. Well, I don't know. I mean, this might be the last cartridge slot that we see, but I still think
PlayStation and Xbox have already been selling people empty boxes for years. Where you buy a deluxe edition of something that comes with a statue for like $80, and sometimes it doesn't even include the game, and sometimes it just includes a digital download code for the game.
Yeah,
I should probably mention what we're getting at here. The U.S. investment bank called Piper Jaffray has said that certainly games will all go digital in the coming years, and the prediction is by 2022 it will be an all-digital environment.
I don't think it'll be that fast.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it'll be that quick. I think here's the thing: PCs have been effectively all digital for years now with Steam.
That's true.
I don't know if there's. I think there's still boxes out there though. Maybe those are all finally gone, but they hung around for a really, really, really long time. You know what I mean?
But whatever circle is out there that's trading or reselling PC software probably is a lot smaller than the people who are trading and reselling video game software.
That too.
Consoles. The trader market, I think, is what keeps physical going for video games.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, because here's the thing: is the PC barrier to entry just means there's not that much of a market in used stuff, and then the fact that PCs are where you pirate stuff. So there's and then there's also Steam has done the thing where why would you even buy a used game for $5 or $10 when you can download it for literally a $50 game for like $1 or 50 cents during one of the sales, so they've kind of killed that market anyway. But I think a lot of people look at the PC thing and go, oh, see, it's pretty much all digital. I think, consoles are going to go that way. Lickety split, and I think it's going to be a lot slower transition than people think. Like driverless cars.
especially for Nintendo. They're always like a generation behind everyone in technology. So
Yeah. I don't know if there's any games really on Switch that are physical only, though. I mean, pretty much everything. I know Wii U had a couple that were physical only, and 3DS has had a few that are physical only that there aren't digital versions of. But Switch, it seems like everything's got a digital version out there except for Labo.
that's true.
1-2 Switch.
Yeah, it's got. Yeah,
Does
because
it finally?
it's been on sale.
It's on. That's
the
right. It's
eShop
on sale on the
sometimes.
eShop. Yeah, no, it did. I think it did launch with a digital version. I just opted for the physical because again, the 20%.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think we will get, especially as these stores keep shrinking and shrinking. I just saw a bunch more closings for Sears. Not like they really carry video games anymore, but as the brick and mortar stores
Yeah.
close, my
That's a
mom
good
asked me the other day, we were driving by a GameStop. She goes, "How do you think they stay in business?"
They don't.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, well, it probably
shell
helps that
games.
Toys R Us just closed for a little bit, but there's still way too many GameStops.
Yeah, and I don't.
We've even seen like in stores like big box stores like Target and Walmart, the game sections are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I think we will eventually start seeing more digital cards, like
Yeah.
Best Buy's kind of been trying out.
My Target, the game section shuffles around a lot and now includes a lot more like Funko characters and stuff like that, and
like
fewer actual
T-shirts,
games.
yeah, candy,
Yeah.
and yeah.
But the section itself has remained the same. It's just, it contains a lot more of that kind of stuff now, and the actual game shelf is reasonably small by comparison. It used to be the whole section, and now it's a quarter to a third of the section, maybe.
Yeah, my Best Buy, it's like if you want to buy a 3DS game, it better be one of those Nintendo Select ones for the most part. Like, you got your Super Mario, your New Leaf. It's like, aside from that, they don't have a ton.
Yeah, I haven't really searched for new releases except when it's just or games other than when it is new releases.
Yeah.
Usually have those, but
yeah,
I
but
don't
the
think
other
they're
thing
hanging
is,
around very long because the shelf space is pretty small. I mentioned that with the Switch, like with the more games that keep coming out, some of the earlier ones probably just aren't going to be around.
it's true.
Media in particular, though, I think is hardest hit by just the rise of online shopping.
Yeah.
Right? Who of us really goes to Target to select a new game? I mean, maybe Target.com. I do that, right? But not the actual store.
Well, we know even before you look at Target.com, you already know all about the game directly from Nintendo or the developer usually.
Yeah, well, and also the price and if it's on sale, or you know what I mean? Like you've shopped around online, found the best price online. You're not really rolling into the big game rack. I mean, you know what I mean? You might go to Target to pick up the new game that came out, but I can't imagine there's very many people just rolling through there. Oh, I'll grab this $30 or $40 3DS game or this $60, just like impulse buy. Like, right? That's what brick and mortar stores pretty much are now. They're for impulse buys. Anything that you're actually thinking about or planning to buy, you pretty much are going to probably buy online. Or at least get it all specced out before you even go into the store and make sure that they have it in stock, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So there's no real need for shelf space. Like, for example, the mini Nintendos, they just had them in a little wheelie cart behind the counter. And, once that first day of rush was over, they might go into a cabinet somewhere, but they just didn't. There wasn't any shelf space made for them. There wasn't any room in the Switch or 3DS cabinets for them. So I don't know where they were. They were probably just going to go in the back until people asked for them, keep a few under the counter. But right, it wasn't like there was a mad rush. Somewhere. Yeah. So a lot of that stuff, I think, right, I think they're behaving a little more like Amazon now, where they probably just keep a lot of their stock in the back. Like I've noticed that with baby stuff a lot because I have to go buy baby formula and whatever. A lot of times it's just they haven't bothered to stock the shelf. It's just all in the back. So you got to ask. But it's like I think a lot of people are just ordering online for in-store pickup kind of thing.
Well, even grocery stores now are all doing those, shop online and just pull into the parking lot. And I just wonder if
Yeah.
all these brick and mortar stores won't turn into warehouses that you order online, but you go there to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, that's half the time I go to Target. I've already purchased what I'm going to Target for, and I just go to the front and, get the bag and show them my card, and I'm on my way. Convenient.
Yeah, that's nice.
There's no need to go wander the store for an hour anymore unless, you really just want to kind of browse, which is fine. Sometimes you do, but a lot of times, right,
I think the stores, though, count on those people just going in there for one thing and walking out with 5 impulse buys. I think that's a lot of their business, but digital can work in there too, because they still have, like I said, Best Buy. My Best Buy's got a huge rack of digital download cards.
Yeah.
That has like all the newest games and stuff like that.
That's most of the game section, it seems like, at Best Buy now, is now the rack of the different cards for different games and not the actual boxes. I mean, and yeah, like the download cards. I mean, not.
It's even got ones for like the 3DS, like Super Mario. Yeah. I was looking to buy my daughter a Super Mario game for her birthday, and my mom's like, "Oh, here it is." She goes, "You were thinking it was like $20. It's only $5." And she hands me a card with Super Mario 3 on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, Mom, this is a game from the 80s. I was like, "There's actually more than one Super Mario game, believe it or not."
It's not the same game people have been playing for 30 years.
Yeah.
There's new ones.
All right, but
that's like my mom.
Kind of rolling into our next topic here is follow up to this is Ubisoft's CEO said 1 generation left before streaming takes over gaming.
Now that's crap. I declare.
Yeah, I don't think the internet's there yet. Like I think maybe once everybody's on fiber and streaming issues are no longer an issue. But I mean, nothing would suck worse than getting like deep into a game and then all of a sudden your internet crashes or something happens and it messes up. I know there was some talk with that Resident Evil. Was it Resident Evil? I think that was streaming in Japan. Of people saying like they were in the middle of a game and then it just lost their game.
Here's the thing: is we're getting to a lot of technologies now where it's a great idea, but unless it's perfect, it just doesn't work at all. It's right. I brought up driverless cars earlier too. It's the same thing. It pretty much has to be perfect, or people aren't going to trust it. And this is another one of those scenarios where you're assuming all your customers' internet is going to be perfect all the time. And even Netflix buffers sometimes, right? I mean, we've all had that experience. Like, how maddening would that be in a game? Like, when you're watching a movie, it's annoying enough, but when you actually have to react to something and it starts buffering on you or just starts skipping, a few frames here and there, whatever, that's going to be
if you're just in the middle of a jump, or if you like, say, a game like a Fortnite or some of the other Call of Duties and stuff, if you're in the middle of a battle with somebody where you're shooting at someone and then all of a sudden it starts skipping around.
And that's the thing is those are the times when it's most intense and you're moving around the most is when it's going to be pushing the most data and therefore most likely to start skipping. Like and also, where is Ubisoft based? Does anybody know that off the top of their head?
France.
Do they have really good internet in France?
I have no idea.
Probably.
I imagine these kind of statements come out of places like countries or whatever that just have crazy, years ahead of at least where we are kind of internet that make these kind of proclamations.
I know some countries in Europe also have that the internet is a universal right or whatever, and they have free internet.
Yeah, a lot of them do. And
so I don't know if France is one of them, but that might be part of the mindset too.
I mean, Europe had HD before us or higher quality before us. And I mean, they, as far as stuff like that, they usually are a little bit ahead of the States.
And there's also a thing about like what really qualifies as streaming. Just like straight up whatever that PlayStation thing where it really is, or NVIDIA's been trying to do it and some others, where it's just a straight direct video stream. I guess I have that Steam Link box. It's the same thing, but that's internal to my house and doesn't even work very well over, local Wi-Fi. It needs to be over a hardwired network in my house for it to even, be able to do it lag free. So I just don't understand how what kind of infrastructure they expect they're going to be running on and how they're going to be able to do that all the time. Like MMOs are sending a lot of data back and forth, but it's still just bits. It's not whole screen images, 60 a second. Like that just doesn't seem reasonable.
I don't see what the advantage is for them to stream a game. It's like it's not costing them anything as is to just sell you the digital download.
But then
I guess
they completely control it. You can't hack it. I mean, you know what I mean? You don't have any direct access to anything on your side.
And I guess you don't have storage issues, so they can make a game as big as they wanted it to be because.
And you're also the console doesn't need to be any more powerful. That's the other thing. The console on your side could be something akin to a Roku box, and all the heavy lifting's done on the server side. And I can see some advantages to that, but I also see issues where a new game launches and tons of people are all playing this big, powerful new game all at the same time on their servers. Yeah. And there's going to be a limit to what their servers are going to be able to handle. One
thing's for sure, Nintendo is not going to be doing this for at least another 25 to 30 years.
But a lot of the stuff you're saying where, Nintendo could have control of the game and it prevents hacking and all that sort of stuff, that sounds like Nintendo, but I don't, like Mo was saying, I don't think the tech is there.
Yeah, but they're just now able to handle Splatoon running on their servers.
Yeah. And by the way, there is an official Nintendo response, which is from Shinya Takahashi, who says that they would have to determine a very Nintendo approach to pursue this.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
It's like, no matter how good an idea is or what it is, Nintendo's like, well, we would only do that if there was some sort of Nintendo twist we could throw in there.
Yeah.
Like you had to be touching a screen or waving your hands for it to stream, and if you stop moving, you stop waving or shaking the Joy-Con, the stream drops.
Yeah. If you don't have an aquarium in your house, it just doesn't work.
You got to hang up the chicken wire in the living room.
That'll be the next kit. You have to completely reorganize, feng shui your living room to make the thing actually work.
Except it's feng shui with an aquarium and chicken wire.
Yeah. I'm sure those are. So water and metal, I'm sure those are like feng shui things, right? Water probably goes in one corner and metal goes in another, right? They're supposed to be facing north, south, east, west, or whatever. I bet you.
We should all know this from Animal Crossing, by the way.
I know. Well, in Animal Crossing, it was just colors, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You've got to have green fish in your fish tank. In the south. Anyway.
That's getting pretty deep. If we have any listeners, I wonder how many of them have played that much Animal Crossing to even have any idea.
I found out about it. I still don't understand. It was supposed to increase your luck. Is that what it was? So you'd find better stuff or rarer stuff, or
one's supposed to. I think the South was supposed to increase money, and it's supposed to be green items. I think the West was yellow or gold color items, and it's supposed to increase. I think one is just luck, and I don't remember what the other one, better items or something like that.
You were more likely to get weird. One of them made you more likely to get fossils as opposed to the stupid dingaloid things. I know that.
And then there's little cursed. Anyway. You're cursed if you're not wearing the right clothes, and you'll just fall down.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're wearing the wrong outfit on a given day, and you just keep tripping.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with me, right?
That's weird. Anyway.
Right.
But yeah, streaming, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It won't happen for a long time.
At least not with Nintendo.
They'll have to think about it for at least another generation after it's available everywhere else.
And part of this comes out of, I know we're kind of winding it down, but another thing that occurred to me is part of this comes out of the whole arms race between Sony and Microsoft. they keep having to sell their consoles at more of a loss because they keep having to build more power into the console. So that's who this helps. That's who this is for. This is for the console manufacturers that don't want to have to keep
I don't know if any
hit.
consumers really want this. Like, if there's like, man, I just wish everything was streaming right now. Like,
yeah, I wish I had a wimpy console and everything just streamed to it, as opposed to having this massive beefy box I just paid hundreds of dollars for.
So now, how would it work? Would you pay a subscription fee?
I would assume so.
Or would you pay for each game?
Well, okay,
it could work either. You might pay this. Yeah. You might pay $60 to stream this game unlimited, or you might be able to rent the game for, a period of time. I know that was one of the things that somebody had mentioned. I think with Resident Evil is like you can just have it for like a week if you want. Pay like a certain fee just to play it for a week, and if you beat it and you're done with it, then you don't need to stream it.
Yeah, and there will probably be stuff that's available, like how Nintendo's going to have the virtual console stuff that's just available with your subscription as long as you're subscribed. Other stuff, I'm sure, you'll be able to permanently add to your collection or whatever, but it's kind of like Vudu or Movies Anywhere or Steam or any of these services. At the end of the day, theoretically, if one of them goes out of business, where does your stuff go? Movies Anywhere kind of was a thing where, all the movie studios kind of got together and said, okay, well, we'll keep your stuff. Like Flickster went out of business and a bunch of other sites kind of shut down and they migrated them all, but they were all owned by the studios to begin with. So I assume something similar would happen, but it's just it's this modern age and it's kind of uncharted waters as far as what will happen to this. Like, I've heard stories of people trying to will their Steam account to their children or whatever, and there just aren't laws for that yet. And right now, it just all depends on pretty much what the company says they want to do. There's no real consumer legality laws surrounding it, right? The UK or the Europe, the EU is doing a lot of that. We hear those cases come out of the EU more and more often about consumer privacy and consumer digital rights and all that kind of stuff. But over here, it's just a lot of that stuff hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I mean, I know there was something when I was buying movies through like the Disney thing, like there's something that'll actually say, because Disney does their vault shit. It says like after a certain period of time your movie may not be available when it goes back into the vault, which I was like, seriously, I could buy a digital copy of a movie and then once it goes in the vault I wouldn't be able to watch the digital copy anymore. But luckily that hasn't happened with any of the ones that I have.
But they put it in their paperwork. All these companies have something in their fine print that effectively says something like that we can theoretically revoke any of these at any time for any reason, blah, blah, blah. They covered themselves, and they know it would be a terrible PR move to do it, so they don't.
I don't know, I don't know why they would. Like, I don't know what benefit they have to it.
Make you buy it again.
I guess so. Well, I've never understood the whole vault system anyway, because to me it's like you would sell, I would think you would sell a lot more of Snow White if it was available all the time rather than if it was only available every 5 to 7 years or whatever.
They have to have had people crunching numbers on it because there are certain things like with Nintendo, we know how it goes. Like they know how to drive demand with limited release stuff. You've made the comparison before between the Disney Vault and Nintendo. So it's just certain things like, I agree, Cinderella, Snow White, those I don't think there's a real fan base that rushes out to buy them every 5 or 10 years.
Every time, no. But there's always a new generation with kids, and I think that's their whole purpose behind it, is that every time, by the time you have a kid, by the time your kid is 5, at some point in their lifetime, Snow White's been available. By the time your kid's 5 or 7 or whatever, all their movies have been available at least once.
But you're right. I mean, it's just rolling generations. It's not like people only have kids every 10 years. So I agree. There's a lot of them. They should just, like Lion King or certain super well revered classics. But a lot of the older ones, have lost some of their luster over the
Yeah.
years, and they
Yeah.
might as well just make them widely available.
Well,
Peter
and it
Pan
also,
was out when my daughter was born, and it just got re-released from the vault now.
Like they should do what Nintendo did, make a Disney Mini that has a whole bunch of old movies in it.
Disney's been talking about that. Disney's been talking about moving away from their vault system and doing their own Netflix style thing where all their movies are available for a subscription rate. So,
oh, that's right, that's right. And I think we interrupted
Yeah.
you earlier, Jason. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say you were talking about new generations of kids, but it's also been new generations of hardware to watch them on. You went from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray
Right.
to HD or whatever is out now, the digital copies. So.
Well, and there's still, for example, right on Voodoo, you can upgrade your regular HD version to a 4K version should you have a 4K television or whatever.
Or your standard version to an HD version.
Yeah, or for example that, or even a 3D version in rarer and rarer cases these days. So I think that's their mindset in the movie industry, is that's how they're right. They know the thing is to keep selling you the same crap over and over, because that's what they've done since VHS, or Betamax, then VHS.
So I feel Nintendo doesn't look at their properties the same way, where they're not like every generation needs an opportunity to play Super Mario Brothers 1. So
Well, they have though.
I mean,
at
they
least
have.
the
Yeah,
Wii.
they've kept it. Yeah, I mean they've kept it since the Wii at least, and now I guess there's Versus on the Switch.
Well, and right, Super Mario Brothers. What was it? All Stars on Super Nintendo, which they re-released on NES, if I'm not mistaken, or not NES, on the GameCube.
Oh, I don't think the original Marios were on the GameCube. They were on the Advance though. They were on the Advance. Well,
you're right.
Yeah, it was.
You're right. They were.
Remember when they did the Virtual Console on Game Boy Advance, where you were paying $20 for Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
Or Bomberman, or Legend of Zelda, or whatever the hell else they had.
This is exactly why I skipped that generation entirely. I did eventually pick up a Game Boy Advance at the end of its life after the 2 Metroids came out. But that was, to me, it was a rehash of Nintendo and Super Nintendo games that I had already played, and that would seem to be 90% of the catalog.
I loved that generation just because of it was so, all the games had like a Super NES looking style to them, and I was way into it. I was like, this is awesome.
It was that 16-bit thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little bit older, so it was the NES for me. But I agree, all of Konami's games had a look, all of Nintendo's games had a look to them. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Capcom's definitely got a look.
Thank you, Capcom.
All right, so we kind of touched on this a little bit, so I'm going to jump ahead here in our topic list, and that is talk about legality in Europe. One of the bits of news that came out is recently France has said loot boxes are not necessarily gambling. This is something that we've talked about on the podcast several times. But basically, the French gambling regulator says they're not gambling because there's no items within the loot boxes to be exchanged for real money. But however, they are investigating loot box item sales and trying to come up with something.
Loot boxes do contain items worth real money. You go on eBay and Mo's always talking about dollar values for the stuff, in Rocket League.
But maybe Ubisoft's loot boxes are probably 1/10 of France's domestic income, so it's in their best interest to say that this is fine.
That's weird. I was just talking about how Europe has traditionally been really consumer protective about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, they usually side with consumers. Yeah.
So this is a little surprising. I would have expected the opposite, but
yeah, there's tons of sites that are dedicated. I know at least for Rocket League, and I've is it PUBG? I think it's another big one. I'm trying to think. There's some other shooter I can't think of the name of, but there's websites where it's like you can just buy like, oh, I've got a super rare sniper rifle, and people are paying thousands of dollars for these digital items.
I think Counter-Strike's one of the ones.
Yeah, Counter-Strike. Maybe that's that CS:GO. Yep, that's the one.
Yep.
There's actually gambling sites for CS:GO where you can take your rare item and put it up, and it'll just randomly spin and give you somebody else's random rare item, and maybe you'll win, maybe you'll. Yeah,
it's sometimes. Yeah. It's like the global. What is it? What's that called in Pokemon? Jason, you know what I'm talking about? The global
trade station.
I thought it was something like
that. There was a couple of CS:GO streamers that were very popular, and they got in a little bit of trouble for making one of these CS:GO gambling sites. And on their stream, they were like, "Hey, I just found this new site, and it's really cool. And it's like these guys don't sponsor me or anything. Just so you guys know up front, I just happened to find this, and it's like I've made so much money on this site. It's really awesome." And then it turns out that the guy was the actual owner and founder of the site, which they denied until somebody found the business filings for it. But yeah, people definitely do spend real money on these items and resell them for real money.
Yeah. I don't understand how they didn't see that, but I don't know. Maybe they're using a different definition than we do.
I mean, you can't sell it back to the game, I guess. So in that way, then yeah, I guess. But you can sell it to other people, and I do exchange. I just did an exchange on Rocket League tonight. On Reddit, there's a subreddit called Rocket League Exchanges where you can set up and trade, wheels with people or decals or give them keys for items. It's crazy. Some people pay thousands of dollars for a titanium white octane car in Rocket League. These people are nuts.
There was one other part to this news story, and it kind of fits into what Z was saying about Europe being more hip to things. And I'm not going to try to pronounce what this organization was named, but the initials are ARJEL. And basically they have criticized loot boxes, but they aren't willing to make a move unless there is a combined and coordinated effort throughout Europe to deal with them. But the coordinated effort would require input from things like gambling authorities, financial and banking regulators, consumer protection authorities, data protection authorities. So there's a lot of things involved before they're willing to go after these game companies for loot boxes. So it's really interesting.
Well, in that way, Fortnite has a new model for making money, which is doing well, and we talked about Rocket League getting ready to adopt that model as well on top of their loot box system, where they do a pass where you pay money and they tell you up front what you're getting for that money.
And it's kind of like buying a game. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're just paying for. In the old days, they'd put out a $20 expansion for a game. In this case, the expansion's there. You can play it. You can just pay 10 extra bucks or not to get more game. I mean, I think the model is totally legitimate for a free to play, and honestly feels kind of generous. You know what I mean?
I had talked before about Rocket League, people saying that Rocket League should adopt a free-to-play model.
Yeah.
And I did just see they had tweeted out either today or yesterday that this 4th of July starting July 3rd, Rocket League will be free on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam for people to play. You can play it for free without owning the game.
Is it like
for how long?
I think it's just through the weekend or something, yeah. But as a 4th of July, because it's also it's the anniversary of the super acrobatic rocket powered battle cars and Rocket League as well. It's the 3rd year anniversary for Rocket League and 10 years for the blah 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 blah. So they're celebrating their birthday by giving it free to everybody except for Switch owners, of course, because
it's probably on Nintendo's side partly too.
Maybe
we can't do that. We only do that free play.
But I wonder how that's gonna. I guess it's just basically a demo.
Yeah, I
But
would
yeah.
assume you'd have to download the
like a
I'm
test
trying to
sponge.
think.
Yeah.
Test fire.
I just don't think you can really transition a game from a paid model to a free to play
That's hard.
when you've got without upsetting the existing fan base. Unless you just give them something for it.
Even if they hand out
good.
$20 worth of keys,
Yeah.
I mean, right? I don't know. The people that got it on sale are going to feel like they made out. People who got paid full price are going to hopefully not feel like they got too screwed.
But also, how long does somebody play that game too? You know, I mean, there are people who have been playing it for years and years and years, but I don't know if everybody's like that, or if that's, you know, I feel like I've kind of gotten tired of it.
Well, and that's another thing is you're right. I would imagine people who've been playing it, the only people who are going to be upset are people who just recently paid money for it. And again, if they offer them something, then it is what it is. They'll deal with some gripes, but I do think they should go to a free-to-play model. That said, it's a team-based game in a way that Fortnite really isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? So having crappy noob free-to-play teammates is going to piss a lot of people off.
Well, Fortnite just has a more casual feel. It should be. It should be something where you and your team should be able to coordinate and and do stuff. But whenever I play with Jason, I tell him don't fill. Like you have the option to fill it with random people or not. I'm like, don't even bother about filling. Like,
well, that's the thing is you can get away with that when it's two people versus a bunch of teams and whatever. But when it's puts you
when it's 3-on-3, yeah, it's a little different. Yeah,
but still though,
we'll see.
Just the community feel between the two games is totally different. Rocket League is very toxic. People are very angry. You miss a shot, you mess up a play. Someone's going to be mad about that, and you're going to see it. Fortnite, everybody's just kind of chill, Lots of times I've seen people help each other, which is weird.
Yeah, and they're driving shopping carts around and bouncing off stuff and killing themselves, and they're all going to Tilted Tower.
Well, that's there's also something about the fact that when you die in Fortnite, your options are to immediately hop into another match or hang out and watch your friends. Versus in Rocket League, if you're dying in Rocket League, you're just waiting for that match to end. You know what I mean? Sometimes that feels like a really, really long 5 minutes.
Yeah, especially if you go down a couple goals really early.
Yeah, exactly. And you're behind. You're obviously outgunned, and it's just like, you can quit the match, but you want your shells, you want your stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
I played a match earlier today, and we had 4 goals in the first 2 minutes of the game. And I was playing in platinum just so I could maintain my rank, because you have to play at least once a month, I think, to maintain your rank. And I was like, man, I feel bad for that other team, but they were actually a team, like where they were 3 people that were friends. And then at the end of the match, 2 of them were platinum, 1 of them was silver. And I was like, oh, well, that's why they lost. So they were just trying to carry their buddy.
Well, that's what they get. Fair enough.
Yeah. They knew what they were in for. But if they had been random, they probably would have quit before then.
Yeah, I've had many people want to quit after the first goal. It's not going.
Yeah.
When I'm playing a single,
going back, I didn't miss it.
When I'm playing a single match, like just jumping into a match, I would say because I'm low level, but maybe half the time I start in the middle of a match.
In casual?
Down a goal or 2. When I'm playing casual, it's at least half the time I start in the middle of a match. Yeah.
If you play casual, it's because, you're usually getting into a match that somebody else dropped because they got scored on and they just gave up.
Yeah, or they were idle,
you can't do that.
Or whatever, especially when they're doing the event, right? People just idle through matches to get their shells or whatever
stuff. I didn't realize, so the event, you can no longer earn shells for their event, and I stopped at 96 shells. So if I had just gotten 4 more.
Kicking the balls. I almost did the same. With just a few hours left, I at least got 1 more decryptor.
I could have got another crate,
I didn't. Yeah, but I didn't. I only got 3 decryptors. I just.
Now,
kinda
if only
gave
I
up.
could trade shells to my other account.
Maybe.
No, you can't
I
trade
would
shells.
be. I would be more inclined to play Rocket League if it had a unified account system like Fortnite, and I could just hop on either
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Because it's like I love being able to play on the PC.
Well,
when
they're
I'm
working
sitting
on
at my
that.
desk. Well, yeah. Is it?
That's something that they're planning on doing this summer. Is making it. Well, I'm assuming because they said there's going to be a unified account system where you have a unique name to yourself. So that's how Fortnite works. So I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. They also in their birthday celebration said there's going to be another event coming up where you earn balloons, and you'll be able to open those balloons to get one of 60 random items. It's not going to be like a shell. It's not going to be a shell thing where you can trade shells for something. This one's going to be basically you're unlocking. You get crates that are just unlocked, basically, but they're balloons instead of crates, and they just randomly, every time you get one, it gives you a random item. So
That sounds like a nightmare.
grind for that if you want.
It only sounds like a nightmare if you look at the list and decide you want something.
Yeah,
It'll be a nightmare. I just won't. I'll just be happy with whatever I get and just try not to look at anything else.
Oh yeah, you'll be in there. You'll be like, I need to get all these items. I need
But
all
you know it's gonna be. It'll probably be dumb stuff like a happy birthday hat, and since it's a birthday thing, they've already got a birthday cake topper. So
birthday
we'll see.
candles.
Yeah,
And a topper or something. Something stupid. Oh, anyway, since we're already talking about Fortnite, we should probably talk about the biggest Fortnite news. And that is, of course, the rocket has finally launched.
wow.
And you guys got on to see it, right?
Yeah.
That was a good event. That was
We watched it live.
I haven't been that excited about any sort of game event since World of Warcraft. That was a good time.
It's very rare that a video game does something, or I don't know if other games, if World of Warcraft has done something like that, but I mean, it was basically a live update happening because it was changing the landscape of the game while you were playing it. It's like, the rocket launched, so that hole was now empty. The booster landed in Anarchy Acres, so there was a booster that landed there, and the sky is, got this big rift in it. And it all happened that all that stuff wasn't there when we started the match and was after the match and is still there.
Yeah.
So
as far as technically, WoW's done some pretty cool events in the past, similar to that. As far as the technicalities of whether there were live landscape changes, I couldn't say for sure if they'd ever done that or not.
Yeah.
But in general, just a live event, everybody's piling onto the server to be part of it, that kind of thing. That it's they've done those before. That one was beautifully done though. I don't know how I would compare it. Right, WoW when I played it was like 2 generations ago in terms of like console generations, right? So it's just not. It doesn't, just in terms of visual quality, doesn't hold a candle to what Fortnite did.
As a child, I never expected while watching, a rocket, like a space shuttle launch, that I would someday be watching a rocket launch virtually in a video game. And that other people would gather to watch that as well. But that's where we're at. Yeah, it's kind of, if you're into the Fortnite lore, it's there if you want it. If you don't want it, you don't have to pay attention to it. But it's
and even
this
if
one's kind of hard to miss, though.
Well, that's what I mean. Is I don't think any of us gets too deep into the lore. We don't care about it all that much. It's about the gameplay, but just the visuals, the loud. Like I'm right after the rocket launches. You had a better angle on it than me. I got right over it, but that was really not the best way to see it. You were a little off to the side and got a nice shot of it coming up.
Yeah.
But afterwards, right after I was getting shot at and landed and I'm running away, then they had all this stuff going on. There's various explosions going on around the world. It's really loud and there's all these
flying
flashes
around
and stuff going on. Yeah, and there's like some missile goes flying right by me and whatever. Like they did, it was a wild, several minute long event that was, they did it up. It was a big flash bang, shock and awe kind of thing. Everyone was waiting to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And there's still things happening in the games with the
it's
rifts there starting to eat stuff. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's these interdimensional rifts, I guess, and like at Lonely Lodge, the sign got eaten by one of these, and then at the motel, its sign got eaten.
Mm-hmm.
So those, I thought somebody had just been destroying those before I got there, but no, they're just not there anymore. Huh?
Well, if you look at them, there's a little rift there. There's like a little, like what's in the sky. There's a little glowing thing there. So no, it's it's
originally
to
it was like in the sign, right?
Yeah.
You see it kind of through the sign, and now the sign's just gone, huh?
Yeah.
You can even stand in it on the ground. You can walk up to it, and like the light's coming down and touching you. It's weird.
That's awesome. Yeah, and like I when the meteor thing was happening, like they would in the sky, you'd see more and more of them, and then at some point, little ones would just hit the ground here and there over the course of matches, and people were capturing them on video on Twitch or whatever. Hey, it took out this, I saw it hit a house and take out the roof or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of pock marks in the landscape, and there was Dusty Depot, which became Dusty Divot.
Yeah.
So that used to be like another little town until it got wiped out. And I mean, we'll see what happens. I think there's 7 or 8 days left in this season. So
maybe
and I've noticed. Yeah, that would be something.
It's kind of the modern equivalent of a big TV event, We've lost that kind of thing these days where everybody in the world is watching, aside from a few random things like the Super Bowl, which I don't really watch.
Or everybody used to only have 3 channels and no other options. So everybody was witnessing kind of living the same existence in that way, that you could always talk about what was on TV because there's a good chance a third of the people saw it. But now there's so much diversity. It's like, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, but you can still bring up Pokemon Go and Fortnite. Most people will at least have heard of it. WoW was the same way for its time as well. But it's right. These are now the events. Like, I don't know how many people were there for the rocket launch, but literally millions of people are aware of it. And it's also something in a game that, there's secrets in a game when you buy a game, but they're unlocked at the rate at which you play the game. In this case, the secrets are unlocked for everybody at the same time. Like nobody can accelerate their way into what's going to happen, aside from a leak coming from the source. And as far as I know, they've done a very good job of keeping those very tight. Like, there have been no leaks that I've heard of.
There's been some speculation. Some people are saying that it's going to be like a time travel rift thing, and they're going to go back to the Old West, and the next thing will be Old West themed. I guess the last theme, before, like right now, it's on a superhero theme, but I guess the last theme was space. So I would.
We've already had aliens, huh?
Yeah. I was gonna say, it would have been nice to see those because I bet those had better outfits.
I'm sure all the first 4 season outfits will be available for a price at some point.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't know. I'm happy with the stuff that I've had,
except the super rare ones that required a lot of effort to get. But like your Omega,
yeah.
Right now we're having a gangster theme though. You can buy several gangster outfits, and then
there's like some detective stuff, like little trench coats and stuff like that on some of them, which all look kind of weird. The magnifying glass pickaxe was like the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I have to agree with you there.
I can't imagine at $8, no less. I can't imagine they're going to have a lot of takers on that.
Dude, the guy that I was sure was using an aimbot earlier was using one of those. Like, seriously, he'd be in a room like facing the wall, and then like he'd sidestep out the door and literally headshot 3 people. One, never miss.
Yeah.
And like one dude, like you couldn't see the guy. It was the instant, like the few pixels of his head popped up over a hill in the distance, the guy just automatically like locked on and fired. Like that couldn't have been real. That couldn't have been like a person doing that. There was no way you could even see the guy coming.
Yeah.
It was just the moment this little, probably 10 pixels worth of head popped up over the hill in the distance. And it would focus in the shot on immediately fire it. Like there's no way the guy was even looking. But anyway, he had the magnifying glass and the Inspector Gadget outfit.
Hackers.
Yeah, that's because I'm playing on PC, I guess.
And we should mention one other thing. Somebody hit level 100 recently.
Brought my way to level 100.
I kind of mentioned it. Right? That gets you the Omega guy, right?
Right. I still got to grind to level 80 if I want to unlock the colors for the suit, but I've at least got the suit. So, hooray. I was most of the way there, and I probably could have got the rest of the way there on my own, but I just wanted to be able to get it without having to grind. So, I used the V-Bucks that I had earned through the season to buy the remaining tiers, because they had a deal where you could get, usually it's $1.50 a tier. And they had a deal where it was $9 to get 10 tiers. So
saving some money, yeah.
Yeah, like $6 or so, I think, somewhere around there. Math is hard for me, but yeah. So I bought those, and now I don't have to worry about grinding for that anymore. And if I want to grind to level 80 to get the colors, then I will have done everything I can do for this season. So. That's good. And then I don't know if I assume I'll probably buy another battle pass for next season and then see if my interest is still there after that. But it's definitely a fun game. I know we've played a ton of it.
And $10 is not a huge ask,
No. Yeah, I mean, even after 2 seasons, if you've spent $20, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I was considering buying the Wingman suit just to get the extra 100 V-Bucks, because that would give you 600, but then I'm like, but there's no way to just buy 5. But then I'm like, well, next season they'll probably have some other outfit for $5.
That's what I'm hoping. I don't know if that Wingman's been the same old outfit for a while, but I'm banking on that. Otherwise, I'm just going to spend, and I might even spend the 25 for the 25 free tiers.
Well, you already spent a couple hundred on your emote.
Yeah, it was worth it. Every so often, I get other people that'll do it with me, but we're not really fighting over anything. They're just like, hey, I've also got that.
I've looked at some of them. There was a slow clap the other day for 200 that I thought about, where you just
that would be nice.
Slow clap. But I was like, I don't understand what makes some things $2, some things $5, and some things $8.
Dances seem to be the more expensive ones. And then certain ones, notice they're purple or blue or green, right?
Yeah. Well, they're epic rare or whatever.
I didn't know I didn't notice if that affected the price at all or not.
Yeah, it does. I think. Okay. I think it does.
I think
but it's still just somebody deciding what is.
I think people waiting for things to appear in the shop is a thing. I don't know why, because I think we've seen just about everything since we've been playing.
I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, one of my friends I play with has an emote where he's called Make It Rain, where he just pretends he's shuffling money, flipping money into the air with his hands. I don't know what season that was from, but he's got an emote. And I've noticed some of the emotes that come up will say like updated. So it's like they've apparently had an old emote and then updated it somehow.
Now, does that mean if you bought the old emote, do you automatically get the updated one, or do you have to buy it again?
I wonder, because what if you liked the way it was the last time, and now they've updated the animation and it's not as good to you?
I don't know.
You're like, that's not what I paid $8 for. But paying $8 for a dance in a video game is the epitome of stupidity. It's like, I don't know what's worse, like buying a crate in Rocket League and spending $1 and getting something you don't want, or spending $8 on something you do want, but it's just a stupid dance for your character, which you'll very rarely use.
Except when you kill people.
Yeah, maybe. And I don't even do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I usually, because usually right after I kill somebody, I better hide or I'm about to get killed, it seems
Yeah.
like.
You go raffle through their stuff and say, "Got a better gun than me. I'm taking
No,
it."
I hide and wait for somebody else to rifle through their stuff. But
we should move on before we get lost into Fortnite.
and we can.
Yeah.
Should we mention that we've been streaming Fortnite lately?
No, we haven't. That's right. Z has been setting up a Twitch for us. So if you want to check it out, it's NOAP_podcast. Because he did this just after sleeping, I believe.
I had just woken up from a nap and was still halfway logged in and was like, oh, yeah, let me do this real quick. And you guys have been using Nope for your tag for Fortnite, and I just wasn't thinking. And now I can't change it for 60 days. So assuming that we build a huge, massive following in the next 60 days, then I won't change it. But otherwise I'll change it. So that it matches.
But now you're putting it out here. Someone else is going to come and switch and steal the name you want now. Because
that's a good point.
Podcast. And they're going to sell it to you for ransom. They're going to ransom it to you.
You know, in all seriousness, Jason, maybe you should just edit this whole section.
I don't think there's anybody listening that wants to take it.
If somebody wants to ransom us for a better Twitter name, we will not pay it.
No.
We're just warning you now. We will be perfectly happy with NOAP podcast.
It even costs us $1. We'll just keep it. We're that way.
Yeah, that's right.
Mostly because we'd just be too lazy to figure out how to send you $1.
Yeah. That's right. We put it in those web zones and then it gets lost. And anyway, so speaking of putting dollars into web zones, Reggie has been talking about the eShop again. So he's talked about how they've updated it so far. And he says, what we're really focusing on is off-device curation. Which, of course, means you go to Nintendo.com to look at the eShop. That's what all of us do, right?
Wait, what? Now, I saw that article, and I admit I didn't get a chance to read through it. That was one of the nuggets out of that guy.
Off-device curation is what they're doing.
Because you know when you go to buy a video game on Nintendo Switch, you don't go into the Nintendo Switch eShop. You go to Nintendo's website and you buy it there. So why focus on the thing inside the system?
And their goal, he said their goal right now is to make it to where you can purchase the games on Nintendo.com worldwide, because places like Australia cannot currently buy games from Nintendo.com.
Oh.
It gets deeper.
An international marketplace. Go ahead.
I was just saying that gets deeper, yeah. You just think it sucks and then it gets worse.
I don't know what to think of this.
I think we've had that option since the Wii U, that we could buy stuff on their website and it would just download it onto the Wii U.
Wait, I mean, you can, and don't get me wrong, other
3DS
consoles
as well.
And you can do it on other consoles. You can.
Yeah. It's a nice option to have, but it's not the primary.
Yeah, exactly. That's and it's the same thing with like the voice chat and everything else. What is the problem here? Why are they so afraid to do anything on the Switch itself? I don't get it. What's the logic behind this? Like everything is going to be external. Your parental controls are all external. Your voice chat and your friend list stuff is all external. Now your eShop is going to be all external. What the? This doesn't. Yeah. Why? This doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, having it as an option does. Having it as your primary method to purchase and to search, to look for games and to what it's just.
Well, the Wii U had a very well curated eShop, and that was a failure. So we need to flip things. I think that maybe that's part of it. Maybe they're just like, but then the 3DS has a decently curated eShop as well, and it's been a success. So There's mixed signals.
I don't know. I mean, I know online shop curation is something that everybody has been fighting with. Every console, Steam, and everybody fights with this problem of visibility and sorting and quality and whatever. One thing that Steam has implemented is they have basically curators, moderators, named people that will list the games they like. And you can decide, do I agree with this guy's taste or not?
Yeah.
You know?
But I think most of the time it's like, I've always said with Nintendo stuff, the cream rises. Like, you've heard of the games that there's I mean, even the ones that are sort of sleepery hits, you've probably heard of them if they're on, for the most part.
Well, we have, because we're, I mean, but I mean, the general public doesn't. So the hardcore gamers that are following this stuff, they'll try out, like, I don't know how big Cuphead really is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my wife has heard of Fortnite. Like my wife reposted something on Facebook about dancing and said she didn't get it. And I said, well, you got to play and you'll understand. But right, there's a zeitgeist thing, and I'll refrain from using that word. But it's right. They didn't hit it. Cuphead didn't hit it. Cuphead hit it big with hardcore gamers who are like, wow, this is amazing technological feat and it looks great.
Yeah, it looks good.
My wife will never hear of Cuphead unless I show it to her.
Which is surprising because Cuphead was everywhere for a while, it seemed, when it launched.
But
everywhere in our view.
Yeah, and it sold millions, and I'm sure it did really well. I just mean it's not. There's certain levels of scale, I guess. Maybe I'm over complicating.
I guess they want to reach the casual wide audience with every game, where we're the informed audience. I just can't imagine there's people who play a certain system and aren't aware, like, oh, I didn't realize this game was even a thing. Like,
well, I have that experience a lot on Steam.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Portal. Portal is a huge game on the PC shooter scene, and it's well known and well revered. And you guys have all heard of it, right? Jason, you'd heard of it before I brought it up a week or two ago.
Yeah, I think I heard of it. I started seeing stuff in like the Think Geek store for Portal. I was like, apparently this is a big thing.
But I also kind of wonder how many people have actually played it. How much money has Portal itself actually made? Valve basically gives it away now. It's always on sale for like $1 or $2, and it's always part of like, their little bundle of Valve games that they will sell you for dirt, because most of them are older now. So I mean, it's in a lot of people's hands. It doesn't necessarily mean a lot of those people have played it. And again, what's a lot? Because that's PC gamers, which is its own segment of the console gaming population, kind of.
But just like anything else, it's got its hardcores. It's gonna have people that are like, I'm big on Portal. And probably maybe not anymore. I would figure a lot of people have moved on by now, I would think.
Or things like, has either of you ever played Rogue?
No. Is it a roguelike? Oh.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's like I've played Metroid and I've played Castlevania. And I'm trying to think of some other genres that are just names of games. But I've never played Rogue. I don't even know what Rogue is.
Mario really got screwed in that he didn't get it. They just called them platformers.
Yeah. Mario. It's not a Mario like.
Yeah.
It should be.
Even though you could say Mario really, I mean, it wasn't the first, but it certainly helped to popularize. I mean, even Donkey Kong a little bit was even earlier.
Yeah,
There's a little bit of platforming in that, kind of.
That's true. I mean, that was the only difference with Super Mario Brothers is the screen scrolled.
Scrolled, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still jumping up the levels and stuff. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I have not played Portal. I don't think I would recognize it if I saw it. I'm assuming it's some sort of first-person shootery thing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I semi-recognize the logo for the game, but I don't... If I saw someone playing it, I wouldn't be like, oh, you're playing that game. Yeah. So
How did
speaking
we
of...
get here?
I have
Portals?
no... Speaking of portals, speaking of presidents, recently the new president for Nintendo,
Barack Fu. Oh.
also known as President Furukawa, has took office now. He's given a couple of addresses and basically saying the same things that we've heard for years from Nintendo. There's wanting new people to experience their IPs. They want to be unique. They want to put smiles on everyone's faces. But we also finally found out that Europe got some new presidents as well. And they've kind of got the same model as America does. Is they got a president and COO, and then they also got a new CEO. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody wants to jump in with some comments.
You think Reggie is sweating yet?
I don't know.
It's like, boy, I survived this round.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wasn't expecting Europe to change.
I know. The former president seemed very popular and well known. So
Yeah.
but do we know? We don't
got
know
promoted.
any of the. What? Oh, we did. Okay, so he got promoted to what?
He works now in Nintendo of Japan. I don't remember what his new title is.
Oh, so it's not that Reggie dodged a bullet. It's that Reggie didn't get
promoted.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's somehow unsurprising to me, but I don't know. I don't know what the guy does behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's shitty. That's shitty to say, but
He might be the greatest that you've ever known. Like he might be like a real mover and shaker. I bet he's a real ball breaker. Just looking at him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll
bet you everyone behind his back is like Reggie's an asshole.
I think he's a puppet. That's just
you can tell by the way.
I think he's just a yes man.
And apparently he's still playing Breath of the Wild, right?
I'm sure he is. He's probably still playing Link to the Past as well.
Yeah, I mean
his favorite game.
The Home Office did put out an edict earlier in the year that people should be happy with what they've got. So he's just staying happy with what he's got.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it seem odd? Do you guys have problems imagining him playing video games? Just like being on the airplane or sitting in his office?
I've seen him playing video games on the TV.
Yeah, I don't.
He's not very good at them. Yeah. He has to understand how to use the controller and stuff to be able to demonstrate it, but he always doesn't look very natural playing games.
No, like when he's on a plane traveling for a business trip, he's not playing a Switch. He's typing up documents.
If I ever get to interview him, I'm gonna be like, Reggie, have you ever taken a dump while playing your Switch?
like that Howard dude struck me as somebody who actually
played. Yeah, Howard Phillips.
Yeah, Howard Phillips. Thank you.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, the Treehouse people, they seem like legitimate gamer people, most of them.
Yeah. See, I see Reggie reading the Wall Street Journal while he takes a dump.
Yeah, I agree. As opposed to, surfing Kotaku or whatever.
Or playing Switch.
Or playing Mario Kart like the German kid.
I see somebody's like, this is the new game that you're promoting. This button does this button does this. You're on Fallon next week. Like,
we've set it for easy mode for you. Just don't tell anybody that.
I'd imagine that's how it goes. But yeah, so the new guy.
I wonder if they ever just hand him a controller and just say, here, stand here. We're going to play video of Mario running around. Just push the sticks and make it look like you're playing. I wonder if they ever do that. I bet you they do.
We're undermining this poor man's E3 existence, everything he's ever played.
But he's going to get good at Smash because now he can take it with him. That's what he said with the 3DS anyway.
Yeah, man, Smash. That's really all we've got to look forward to from Nintendo this year, isn't it?
Well,
That
I
and
don't know if I'm skipping ahead or not, or if we were even going to talk about this. I can't remember if this was on our topics, but I did see there was a statement about more games coming this fall.
That's right. I didn't read that all.
obviously nothing of big enough caliber that they felt worthy of mentioning now. I mean, unless they're dropping Metroid Prime 4 early, or they've got.
No, I don't think there's anything like that. It'll be probably more World Ends With You level stuff or lower.
Ports.
They seem to be very proud of their indies, like
Yeah.
that they're legitimate games, which, I mean, they are, but when you're like, we've got a lot of games, we've got over 100 more games left to announce this year.
I hate to say,
Pac-Man.
20 Shovel Knights equals, I want to say Breath of the Wild, but I'm thinking of something more on a different console, like a Nier Automata or whatever, like something really high budget. Even a Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of them in the eShop now, but yeah, they're supposed to be. We know there's going to be another direct at some point. They'll probably do another one of those Nindies at night type deal.
Yeah,
as well. The Messenger is the only indie I'm really looking forward to, or at least I'm interested in. I got scared off of Hollow Knight. I was reading about it on Reddit, and somebody was like, I know everybody complains how much they hate it when developers put easy modes in games, which is a thing now. Like I said, I've talked at length about how much I hate how difficult games are for the most part, indies. And apparently people bitch when they put easy modes in. They feel like, why is this mode here? I'm never going to use that mode. Why did you put this mode in my game? And I've always said, well, then don't play that mode. Like, why do you care? Why does it offend you that somebody else might enjoy this game at a different level? But they were saying that they feel Hollow Knight could use different modes of difficulty because they thought it was too hard.
Yeah, I don't have, like...
They don't sound appealing to me either.
When I was a kid, and, like, it's just like the 8-bit retro games. It's like... The reason we played those is because that was all we had.
Yeah.
It wasn't shitty hard because poor play control. That wasn't a genre. That was just bad game design. Like, Mega Man is this well-revered, and don't get me wrong, the first one had its bright points, but, like, as far as I'm concerned, that was just piss poor game design. That was shitty, mean-spirited, and poorly written and clunky controls, and everything about the original Mega Man gameplay I thought was poor, but the music was good, the graphics were good for the time, etc., etc. So it lived on and eventually became a better series of games. But it's just like that wasn't, and I get Meat Boy and whatever, but I don't know. I don't have the time these days as a grown adult to sit and just grind over and over and die over and over again to get better at something. Like,
yeah, it's hard to enjoy those.
Yeah. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that in Splatoon or Fortnite or something multiplayer where I feel like I'm, playing against human opponents and I'm not just repeating the same crap over and over again, for the sake of it.
Yeah. Sorry, I took you way off from wherever you were going, Jason.
That's no problem. We did have one other tidbit before we move on from the new president. I thought this was really interesting. Supposedly, the 3DS is not dead quite because they're thinking about making a successor. So he said, considering various possibilities. But
I saw something that they feel that there's still a viable market, which I guess to a certain degree, like the Switch, as portable as it is. I mean, I never really took the 3DS a ton of places either, but it is nice to have something that you can fold up and stick in your pocket, which the Switch is not.
It does have
it is kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it does have some advantages as far as portable play and everything.
Well, and they want to have something that will stick in that cheap market for kids.
Right.
And the Switch isn't going to be there for a while, and may never be, just given the nature of it. Well, they could always put a big rubber thing around it.
Yeah. It's the kids Switch. I did see Splatoon in Japan is they're going to do a Splatoon bundle again that includes the online service for free.
Yeah, that comes out later this month, in fact.
Yeah. So I mean, we're getting close. We're only a few months away from the online service now.
Yeah,
2 months.
Still no real news on it.
They'll do a big thing. But I was like, ooh, they're going to throw in a $20 value free.
Well, the console is what? It comes up to about $325. It was in yen, but it's roughly $325.
Yeah, and they're including the game, so
it's not a bad deal.
No, it's a good deal. I knew that they would do this where they're going to charge for online, but they're going to bundle in online with a bunch of systems.
Yeah. Do you guys think we'd see this stateside? I don't.
No.
I think we'll see something at Christmas that comes bundled with the online. They'll probably do a Smash one with Smash Joy-Con.
Yeah, I was specifically meant Splatoon because I know, right? That's big in Japan, bigger in Japan than here.
I don't know.
They're also.
I was surprised how many different ones they had last Christmas. That they even had a Splatoon one and a Mario one. Although I never saw the Mario one in the wild.
I don't think I ever saw either of them in the wild.
The Splatoon was Walmart exclusive only. So.
That would be why.
But they basically were running 4 different Switches because they had the gray, the neon, the Splatoon, and the Mario Odyssey ones. Which I thought the Odyssey ones would be all over the place. Just because that was their big game, but I really didn't see them. I think they'll do something. I think they'll have some stuff for Christmas. We'll probably get a few more 3DSs as well. Or 2DSs, as it were.
Do you think
that still kills me?
Do you think they will ever include like I want to say a demo, but maybe like but like a 1 month free trial or something of the online service with like the new Smash game? Do you think it's possible you could get a free trial there, or maybe not even?
I would think
they might.
I would think you'd have to for certain games that have a significant online component.
Right? Yeah. Because they're going to have to put something on there now that says requires on, like when Smash comes out, it's going to have something on the box that says requires an online subscription to play online. But yeah, they'll probably include like 30 days free or something like that.
By the way, speaking of Smash, we did also get confirmation that we will be getting more Smash Amiibo. It sounds like all the veteran fighters that did not have Amiibo released, which there's not that many of them, will be getting them eventually.
You can get a Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the ones that are coming back.
And a snake.
Yeah.
Are they going to do doubles like they did of the last 3 of the first set? Hope not.
I hope not.
Oh, no, I hope not either.
I don't know how much longer this Amiibo train can run with nothing going on, especially now that I didn't even know if I knew when Smash got released what exactly the Amiibo did. Exactly. I mean, they told us, but I didn't really have an understanding. And now I know that they did nothing.
Yeah, it was vague, but people all had their own speculation of what they would do, and it was really not what anybody thought. But the other thing is, here's the thing about the Amiibo thing. They had to get on the bandwagon when they did. They should have gotten on it earlier, but it's like, imagine if they had actually had a popular console when they got on the Amiibo, when they started with the Amiibo.
Yeah. Amiibo were more popular than the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, it kept them afloat through the lean years, but at the same time, it's like, had it been attached to a real, a console that people wanted, it would have been many times what they sold.
But Toys to Life is kind of a dead genre. I mean,
it is at this point. I wouldn't be
Lego
surprised
Dimensions closed down, Disney Infinity closed down.
I wouldn't be surprised if the final Smash characters were the final amiibo, but I don't know. They'll probably still float a few around for the kids' games.
Yeah, they'll try to milk it as long as they can.
Don't they always go longer than what the market is actually there? So they'll end up staying around way too long and then be on clearance at Walmart 3 years from now.
Well, I bet any amiibo that comes out from now on is going to be rare because stores aren't stocking them like they used to. So it's like, even if you want a Metroid one right now, it's like, good luck.
And
if you want the original Splatoon 2s, good luck.
Other consoles are still selling little statues and little figures. So this is just Nintendo's version, kind of, right? Because Dark Souls is making, they instead of making a figure like they would on a PlayStation or a Xbox, in this case it's an amiibo, but it's the same kind of thing, I think. So I think they'll still pop up from here and there. But I don't know. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the Smash line was the last line out of Nintendo. I'm certain it'll be the last big set, right?
I have a feeling that they've got an amiibo game in development that's probably been in development for years, where they're going to try to get this going one more time. I don't know if it'll happen, but I have a feeling that they'll try. I could be wrong.
I don't know. They're kind of distancing themselves from past technologies, like with the Street Pass and stuff going away, and then their online social media. And I think the Amiibo is another one that they're going to start, slowly pushing it away. I hope
they've not really been promoting the Pearl and Marina too much. Those Amiibo are either coming out this month or maybe they're out already. Or
I don't even know. I pre-ordered them as soon as the listing went up on Best Buy, but it still doesn't have a date. Last I checked. So it's just sitting in my my orders, and I still have no idea when I'm getting it.
Don't open them; they'll be rare.
Yeah.
Oh, pre-order! I just checked. Pre-order update changed to 7/13.
There you go.
So okay, that's when I'm getting them.
A little over a week.
Yeah.
Yep, and then they will just go on the shelf next to the rest of the Splatoon amiibo and never be touched again.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess I'm going to have to pre-order the Octoling set, aren't I? Yep.
And you're going to have to pre-order the standalone Inkling Girl, too.
Smash Brothers, yeah.
No, that looks way too much like I won't do that. I won't buy recolors, and I won't buy ones that are basically the same figure, man. The Inkling Girl, the Smash Inkling Girl looks exactly the same, basically, as the Splatoon one.
Yeah.
Not?
Yeah, it's very close. Very, very close.
It's close enough to me that I'm not going to bother. Same thing with the boy. And I have a feeling there'll be a blue squid and an orange squid to go with them or something, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm not down.
They've announced an Inkling Boys Smash Amiibo?
Oh, they haven't yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'll be shocked if they don't have one.
It'll be retail exclusive, probably.
Oh yeah, probably.
The girl will be everywhere, but the boy will be.
Or the girl will be at Best Buy, and the boy will be at GameStop, and the squid will be at not Toys R Us anymore, Amazon.
Yeah. Toys R Us is shuttered. Although I did see there was another thing from the CEO that they were in talks to possibly reboot the brand Toys R Us, the company that bought the Canadian division. Because in Canada, none of the stores actually closed. Somebody bought them and just kept them open. So now they're in talks with the Canadian one to possibly reboot the brand here in the U.S.
Nice.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
I gotta say, man, I deal with Canadian companies for work. We deal with a Canadian for our podcast. They tend to not be complete morons and not be
Canadians are nice.
Tend to not be assholes. Yeah, exactly.
They're nice. They're polite.
Yeah, I'd be like if I was thinking countries that I would want handling my children's toys.
Yeah.
Canada's up there. I'd feel comfortable letting them provide toys for children.
They'd get maple syrup all over 'em.
That'd be totally okay with me.
All right.
But-
Before we wander away from Smash entirely, there was one other little bit of news which I think may be connected to Smash. It's my first thought, at least. Nintendo recently applied for more patents, as they usually do. Most of them were for games that we know about, like the new Fire Emblem game coming out. But there was also a GameCube trademark, and it wasn't exclusive for games merchandising, but rather for actual video games. Any thoughts on what that could be for?
Melee for the Virtual Console.
I thought about a Smash GameCube controller. That's probably where that was going.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I think they've already confirmed a Smash GameCube controller. I think for this
Yeah, I
for
think
the new
so.
one and the adapters.
It's still not what I want, though. I want a Pro controller shaped like a GameCube controller.
Yeah,
With all the full bells and whistles of a modern Pro controller, but in the GameCube form factor.
I think we've seen third parties that are making those.
Yep. I'm sure it was third parties.
Sure is
We'll
a big
see.
A button.
Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that everything is a different size and shape, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I was trying to compare. I forget it's Justin Trudeau? Is that their
Prime Minister.
Yeah, no, I was by that's where I was going with not a complete moron thing. But I digress.
We're at war with Canada now. So.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks for
No,
starting the war, Z.
Jason was because I know I've started it. No, Jason was concerned that I was calling Barry not a complete moron.
Oh.
That's kind of how it read, and it's like, I like Barry, Z. Don't offend him.
No, Barry is good. But I was using Barry as my token Canadian to say, hey, I'd let Barry sell toys to my children. Like I'd trust Barry to not sell my children either, dirty toys or, dangerous toys or, poorly built toys. Like Canadians are cool. Canadians just legalize weed, man. Canadians are great.
All right, so moving on from this entirely, we will no longer talk about Canadians for this time being. Let's talk about something.
Except in the most positive light.
Let's talk about Crash Bandicoot.
Why?
I wanted to bring it up just because you guys loathe it so much.
Yeah.
I believe this is UK charts #1. It's also sold more than any other game in 2018 in the UK. Fastest selling Switch game in 2018.
Was it or was it not Sony's poor attempt to imitate, Mario?
I think that was their mascot. Yeah, there was Mario, there was Sonic, and Crash.
Yeah, that was they really like everything about the PlayStation felt formulated, felt like the product of a marketing team decision. Like everything.
That said, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that said, PlayStation was huge. I didn't have a PlayStation 1.
I didn't.
I don't know. But there is a large group of people that are nostalgic for, remember when you had the PlayStation and we used to play Crash Bandicoot all the time? Like, there's a generation that's their Mario.
I know, but only because, like...
And apparently they're all British.
Some people grow up with crap and they just don't know that it's crap. But if they have nostalgia for it because they grew up with it.
Have you played the Crash games?
I have. I've bought them on like the PS3, you can buy the PS1 classics and stuff, and I messed around with them, and like my wife has fond memories of playing Crash Team Racing when she was a kid.
Yeah.
That's the racing game. And I've actually heard good things specifically about Crash Team Racing over the Crash Bandicoot games in general. But again, everything about, to me, I remember I had an ex-girlfriend at the time that bought me a PlayStation. And to this day, that's one of those moments in my life where I feel like I was a dick because I was like, why'd you buy? Like, this is thank you. This is a PlayStation. I only play Nintendo consoles, but thank you. Like, I was not into it at all. That's the only reason I even ended up with one, and I think it got stolen since. But yeah, everything about the PlayStation to me felt like what it was, which was Sony trying to get back at Nintendo. Sony trying to clone everything Nintendo was doing in their own, nefarious way, and everything felt like a product of a marketing meeting saying, how do we beat Nintendo? We got to have a mascot.
Well, it worked.
We got to have a series of games. It did. But all it came down to is, we will have a DVD player. Oh, genius. That's really what it boiled down to.
Yeah, that generation.
Kids can convince their parents, like, hey, it's a DVD. We don't have a DVD player yet. This is a DVD player.
I can't remember, was GameCube second or third that generation?
Oh, in terms of release time?
No, in terms of sales. I can't remember if Xbox did better than GameCube, right? Yeah.
Oh, the GameCube's definitely third?
I don't know for sure, but I would assume.
That was Saturn generation, was it not?
No, that was Xbox.
Yes.
Xbox, yeah, original Xbox, PS1, and GameCube.
Because I remember.
No. PS2 was
against
PS2
the
and GameCube.
It was PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And GameCube.
So you know what? PlayStation was 64. That's what it was.
Yeah.
PS was 64.
That's right.
Sony went to disc, and Nintendo
that was the whole thing, because it was the disc, and Nintendo ended up sticking with the cartridge. So this PlayStation came out after the N64, right? No. Sony what were they working on? Were they working on the disc system for the Super Famicom, or were they working on the disc system for the N64? They were working on the disc system for the Super Famicom, weren't they?
I believe so. Yeah, and then they ended up rolling into their
That's right. So it was roughly around the same time. The N64, I remember being late to the game for some reason. Maybe the PlayStation came out first.
I just remember about the GameCube. I went to buy the games, and I've had things said to me more than once. Are you sure you want that for GameCube? It's like, yes, I am sure.
Like you realize this won't play on your PlayStation, right?
It wasn't that bad, but it was close to it.
It's like when you ask for a Fire Emblem game.
So you want that Pokemon game? It's not Pokemon. It's Pokemon. All right.
The N64 came out 3 years after the PlayStation. Nintendo, that was another big reason Nintendo lost that round. Because it came out and it blew away the PlayStation, but 3 years later, it was
they really Nintendo'd that situation.
Yeah.
The people were still behind it. I mean, Nintendo was still the brand of video game.
Yeah.
They were still the Q-tip or the Kleenex of the business. You were playing Nintendo. And at some point, now you're playing.
There was nothing on the GameCube that people point back to like Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time. There's good games, but
Melee.
Okay, Melee. Yeah. Melee's the best of that series. Okay, I'll give you Melee. That's the only one I can think of, though.
But yeah, I don't know. People like Luigi's Mansion. People like I have a very soft spot for Rogue Squadron.
Yep.
2 as one of the. I mean, that's one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time. Probably that's not a Nintendo game. But
but wasn't that multiplat, or was that was multiplat?
No, that was console exclusive. Can you imagine? Nintendo had a console exclusive, as was Rogue Squadron 1 as well, I believe.
A console exclusive Star Wars
game. Yeah. It's so badass. And they had that in the like if you went to Walmart or wherever, they'd have that in the demo station, and that really sold me on GameCube. Like I was like, this looks amazing. Especially after playing a 64. And then you go and you play the little demo console.
Oh yeah, and that was the first one where it had like actual video sequences from movies in it, and it was like, it really felt.
But the I think the graphics still hold up today. I mean, it's because it's so dark. Like But yeah,
That's part of it, I suppose. They do. They're really not bad. I mean, especially if you're playing, if you plug that thing into a CRT, it's beautiful. If you plug it into a modern HD TV, right, there's just that generational loss. Now you add the fancy component cables that you pulled off.
And now they've got HDMI cables that you can buy for the GameCube as well, which it only makes it takes it from 480i to 480p, so it is progressive scan at least. So it's a little smoother, and the colors are a little bit better that way. But it doesn't look horrible. I mean, but it doesn't look amazing either. It's not HD.
All right. Well, I wanted to end out our podcast tonight with a little bit of fun, I guess, and some good news. So Z has predicted this since the inception of Labo, that Labo would make it to schools. And indeed it has. Again, we're all hung up on Europe this week, but a UK primary school teacher has brought Labo into the classroom. Basically, he had the students build the RC car and then had them modify it to carry a biscuit, which is a cookie, across the room. So it's pretty cool. Okay.
But it's a biscuit because it's Europe, because it's UK. And I think we all probably figured this would happen at some point. I wonder if this guy's receiving back-end payments from Nintendo, or he might just be a goofball Nintendo fan who happens to be a science teacher. In this case, that's a pretty, with the way the YouTubers and everything work these days, it's a blurry line as to who's receiving something from Nintendo or not for promoting Nintendo. So who knows? I bet if he wasn't receiving anything from Nintendo prior to this, he certainly is now. But it, I don't know. I mean, it's cool and it's legit. I love Nintendo as a company and whatever, but it still bothers me a little bit that the idea that it's a corporate brand promoting itself, even if it is with something educational and positive and whatever, it's kind of like when Apple made sure that every school had Macs. A lot of good it did them at the time. But it just feels a little nefarious that it's like, make sure school kids know our name. But everything beyond that, that's just me being, a little 1984 about it. But, otherwise, I think it's totally cool. I mean, it's a neat little programming setup. I don't know if any of us have played with it.
You'd have loved to play that as a kid, I bet.
I would have. Yeah.
Here's the new Nintendo product.
If this came out, I wasted endless hours with those little breadboard things that you would get as a kid that would just come with like a little light bulb on it and a bunch of other, I had one of those little science kits, I'm talking about. It would have different little transistors and things.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Wires into it.
I remember those when I was an infant walking through Radio Shack.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of mindset. If I had this as a kid, I would totally waste hours making that car do all sorts of crazy shit. But as an adult with a kid not of that age, it's, I've spent 20 minutes with it and I may never play with it again.
Yeah, it's not quite as interesting. It's just cardboard now.
Yeah. I still have the car just sitting on, my Nintendo shelf, but no Joy-Cons in it. It's just a cardboard husk.
I think it's relegated to Rob territory.
Oh,
yeah.
Totally.
But less cool. But still just a weird thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be one of those things that people bust out, like the NES Max, that's a curiosity.
Yeah.
People go, oh, wow. But it's not anything that people...
Wow, that thing sucked to use.
Yeah.
Just like Labo.
Yeah, I think, that's what a weird, just what a weird curiosity, I think people will say years from now and go, oh, no. Nintendo does some weird shit sometimes. Like that light telephone. That's where I think this Labo will end up.
All right. I think we've got our episode in for the week. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in and checking us out. Hopefully you got some ideas thinking about the future of Nintendo here. I know we all certainly have. So, by the way, I'll just reiterate what Z said earlier. If you want to get more of us, because we are irresistible, you can check us out on Twitch, NOAP_podcast, and watch us play Fortnite. And there's the
You watch us
flavor.
die in Fortnite. You watch us hide under trees for 20 minutes at a time. It's got to be, yeah.
We have fun, and we do include our voice chat, so if the gameplay isn't
The
that
only
fun,
people in the world playing Fortnite on Twitch,
that's right.
by the way.
Yeah, no, exactly.
If you don't want to,
You have no other choices.
well, we should be your first choice.
Of course.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us right now, I would imagine there's something wrong with you already anyway, so you might as well check out our Twitch stream.
That's right. But you're
I
whatever.
know.
Wrong with all of
If
us.
that didn't sell you, I know Barry watches. And he's Canadian. So.
If you're from the UK, you should also watch.
We have
Oh, yeah.
reruns of the rocket launch with Mo and I
That's
getting
true.
shot at.
That's true. I took one shot during the rocket launch. I got hit one time. And I know you said you were getting shot too, so I know I got hit one time while I was pretty high in the air.
Yeah, I thought I was still pretty high up.
So shame on those people.
How dare they ruin our rocket launch?
Speaking of rocket launch, enjoy the 4th of July.
That's
Or
right.
if you're listening to this, hope you had fun yesterday.
That's
4th
right.
of July.
Hope you got up nice and early after a night of fireworks to listen to our podcast.
Yeah. Or
Stayed up.
Or put it on as you were unwinding from your 4th of July drunk at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Well, like in my case, it comes out like 1 a.m. or something. So,
That's true.
I'm usually still up when I see the little notification pop up.
Sadly, I am as well. But it's like 4 a.m. here, I think.
We're usually up playing Fortnite at that hour. So if you want to watch us play
These
Fortnite and then immediately listen to us do the podcast, this is perfect. Yeah,
Or you can watch or listen at your leisure. That's why they're there.
that's right. It'll be up on Twitch. You can watch our replays and decide if we're worth tuning into live. But anyway,
Get into our mental game.
that's right. If you can give us some tips on how not to be so terrible at in any of the games we play, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, please. We would take any Fortnite tips on Twitter from people watching our play style and telling us what we're doing wrong, because I'm
Pretty
sure
sure we need to build more and aim for the head.
And drop into Tilt the Tower.
Yeah. Building, man. People have to have macros. Like the way stuff just flies out of people. Like they can have a three-story structure in like 3 seconds.
There's a control style that's called Pro Builder that you can set where instead of like how you would normally switch between your weapons, your L, your R, your ZL, and ZR are all build pieces. So you just tap those buttons once to build. So that's how they're doing it.
Yeah. So it's just like you're pulling the trigger. You're just mashing a button.
Yeah. Which, if you want, the Playgrounds mode is available right now.
Oh, it's back
in, huh? So you could, Jason and Max and I played that was that last night? Or I guess it must have been last night. I was like, was that today or was that last? See, I've been putting so much time in, I don't even know what day I played what.
Here's a question. I had read somewhere that the playground mode was time limited. Like you could only go in for a certain amount of time and like per round. It
puts you in for an hour per round.
Oh, wow. That's plenty of time.
But it's everybody against each other, so we could play hide and seek if we wanted to. Like we all dropped into Tilted, and we were the only 3 people in Tilted with all those buildings.
Oh, so but you can damage each other.
It's Yep.
Oh,
yeah. So you can
fun.
Yeah, man, it was fun for Mo, not so much for me and Max. We're walking along the street, minding our business. Respawning in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I should have been experimenting with building crazy stuff, but instead I was just hanging out on the rooftops looking for them. But Jason built some stuff.
I built some stuff.
Anyway,
Yeah. So thank you for watching. As always, hope you've enjoyed it. As always, you can hit us up on Twitter, NOA_podcast. Listen in on Stitcher and iTunes, and now Twitch. So we'll see you next time. Have a good 4th, and see you later.
good night.
Are you?